I'm always so pumped when I come back from the metal store. Look at all this stuff I got. Welcome back to the KTC Garage. This is the channel where we do all types of DIY projects. If you guys will remember, a few videos back, I built a planter for my mom for Mother's Day. Super proud of that build. It turned out amazing. The finished product was really something to be proud of. Well, the mother-in-law saw that and said, why don't you make me one? And me never gonna do the same thing twice, I'm gonna up it and build an even cooler planter for the mother-in-law. Hope mom doesn't get jealous now. I have to build her another one. So come on over to the paper. Let me show you what we're gonna do. All right, so here's what I was thinking about doing with this build. I'm gonna do a 3-tiered planter, and then what I'm gonna do in the middle of it right here, since they are devout Christians, I'm gonna build a metal cross that is gonna seem like it's floating there. And then I will do some walnut or some oak wood for the tops. So, should be a pretty good project. I'm ready to get started. And then we'll put the cross right here in the middle. I think that's gonna work.
Okay.
Time to go in for a little while. Lightning? I don't do lightning. Well, I don't know if that just got caught on video, but I just flashed myself bad. Just got in a hurry, man, you know. I may be making a trip to urgent care tonight, though, to get some painkillers put in my eyes. I don't know yet. I was definitely 5 inches away from it, because you know I gotta stick my head down in the weld like you're not supposed to do. I don't know. We'll see tonight, I guess. I'll let y'all know how it turns out. I did not put one of these little cross braces right here because this is where the cross is going to go. So I'm going to make the cross take up this whole center section, so I didn't put a bar across there just to make it stand out a little bit more. All right, now I'm starting to work on the cross. I think that right there looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more to the top. I just finished having some lunch. It's time to get started again. I had to let that cross cool a little bit. By the way, guys, I know y'all see me wearing this welding apron. I'm sure all my buddies are gonna be laughing at me. It keeps me from burning a hole in my t-shirts, and it's a lot cooler than wearing that welding jacket. I have sleeves and this apron on. This is the way to go, man. I'm staying fairly cool, even though it's already like 90 degrees out here. It isn't near as hot as wearing that big welding jacket, and it gives me a really handy pocket right here that I can put all of my marking pencils in. Alright, I'm getting ready to do my bolts and nuts into the bottom of each one of the legs. And before I do, I'm going to start with some Weld Clean 350 on the threads and around here. It's an anti-spatter spray. I'm going to spray that on everything to try to prevent those nuts from getting bound up like the ones did on that original planter. Alright, the next thing that I have to do is I have to make some tabs to weld on the top, some little flat tabs with a hole in it so that I can screw up into my wood, because wood's going to go here, here, and there. Alright, I have some tabs marked out here every 2 inches that I'm going to go ahead and cut. And if you're wondering why I'm not cutting these on the chop saw, cutting a real thin, small piece of metal like this on a cold chop saw like that, you can mess your saw up. If this slips out or one of these little pieces of metal get caught up in the blade, I have heard several cases of this messing saws up. So if I have something real small like this, I just cut it with the grinder. It's not worth jamming or messing your saw up or breaking a tooth over a little piece of metal. It's not that hard to cut anyway. Alright guys, it's time for me to start thinking about how I want to do this cross. I'm sitting here debating in my head if I want to try to weld this thing on or just wait till it's completed and then epoxy it on. The guy at the metal supply store said they usually epoxy them on and they don't come off, but I just don't know if I want to do that. There it is. Man, I was worried about getting that cross straight. Beautiful. I was needed something to try to get down in those corners to be able to sand. And so I ordered this kit right here off of Amazon, this drum sanding kit. And it comes with 4 different size sanding drums and an attachment to put here on my pneumatic die grinder. And the one that's going to work perfect for those corners is this little smallest one. And I thought the way that this attaches on here was pretty neat. What you do is you slide your sander down onto the drum and then you tighten this nut down. And that causes that rubber to swell out and hold on to your sanding drum. Well, that looks much better. I would say that smoothed that out pretty good along the cross here and in most of those corners. All right, here we are back at it today. I got all of the woodworking set up in order to begin to do the wood tops for the planter. And I actually invested in a biscuit joiner. And the reason that I did, since I don't have a way to do a jointing of the edge so that I can get my pieces of wood to fit together really nicely, those biscuits allow me to get that wood lined up just a little bit better. I researched these biscuit joiners and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on this. You know, I always talk about buying the best tool you possibly can, but in this case, I actually went cheaper. Some of these Makita biscuit joiners and DeWalt biscuit joiners were like 150 bucks. I didn't really want to do that. I found one for $59, and that's this Rexbeti. I've inspected it. It came with great reviews. I've looked at the tool. I've started it up. I've used it once or twice. It seems like a very high quality biscuit joiner. I'm not going to be using this thing every day. So in this case, I went with a little bit of a cheaper tool knowing that I'm barely ever going to use this thing. But I still did my research and found a tool that was very high rated, and I even researched this company. This Rexbeti company, every tool of theirs I went online and looked at, all had 4 and 5 star reviews. So whenever you see that, when you see tool after tool after tool has really high reviews, you know that they make a pretty good product. Now the first step to use one of these is you want to first mark out where you want to do your biscuits. And I have decided that I'm going to do mine at 5 inches. So I'll put a mark on each side of 5, and at 10 inches, and I'll put a mark on each side of 10. Now, when I go to install the biscuits, I know exactly where to line my tool up to make my cuts. Now, the other thing that I did while I was laying this wood out is I drew an X and a line on this board so that as I'm lining up my pieces, I won't get my boards confused. All I have to do is line this X and this line back up on this one. One of the other ones I did a big U, and one of the other ones I did a squiggly line. So now I can't get my boards all confused because I have 9 of these boards sitting around and I don't want to get the direction or the orientation confused. Now, I've been doing a lot of research on joining wood and woodworking. And one of the things that I kept hearing is that you want to make sure that your glue covers every little piece of your wood. The neat thing about these clamps is you can lay them sideways and also use these same clamps to get your wood on the same plane this way. clamps. I don't care how many you have, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be enough. Well guys, I went to change the blade on my miter saw the other day and I broke the bolt off that holds the blade onto the machine. It broke off down in the machine. I don't know if it was rusted on or what. I was cranking on it way harder than I should have, and I don't know if I did it subconsciously or not because I'd been wanting a new miter saw anyway, and it just came in. Check out this bad boy. It's a 12-inch DeWalt miter saw with the XPS system. And instead of having a laser that is never in the right place and it's never the same width as your blade, this shadow will show you exactly where your blade is going to hit and the thickness of the blade as well. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped up about the new DeWalt. That should really help us build projects here in the garage. And I got some really cool ideas of some neat projects coming up. And what I wanted to do now is I wanted to finish up this planter, get it over to the mother-in-law. I cannot wait to see her face whenever I give her this thing. finished up. I think this is my most beautiful build to date. And I think my mother-in-law is gonna freak out whenever she sees this thing. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate you sticking around for these builds. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our great community that we have on this channel. And give me a thumbs up, because you know it means a lot. We'll see you in the next video.